name's Scattershot. Action!
Okay, this is part 2 of Craftsman Toys Burst, Gallop, and Light Speed. And this time we're going to take a look at their version of Scattershot. So here you could see what Scattershot looks like in his robot mode. So now real quick, let's just compare this with the animation model. So you could see that this is not very tune accurate, that this is a stylized version of it. So to be objective, I have to look at this aesthetically from that point of view, and just very simply I'll tell you that I think it's very well done. There are little accents of details here that you could see. It's not overly detailed, which is the most important thing. And when you look all around, you could see that it's not very tune accurate, but like I said, trying to be objective, looking at it from a design perspective, I think, you know, the shapes are very simply designed, the colors and the details, it's not overly done. So in short, I think this is done fairly well. So now let's zoom in and take a closer look so we could see the details. And the first thing I want to point out, you could see the light piping, the old design, and you could see that if there's no light going back there, his eyes are dark. So for me, I tell you, like, I kind of don't like that, and maybe that's why it's an old design. They don't, the Hasbro Takata mainline retail, maybe that's why they don't use this anymore. So probably just painting it like this color down here would have been nice. But the head is on a ball joint, so it can go up, down, rotate side to side, all around. And then you see his shoulders can go out to the side, they can go forward and back. He does have a bicep swivel. He does have an elbow joint that does not go to 90 degrees, but that's okay. He does have a slight waist rotation, but if you want to disengage his backpack, you can get a little bit more if you wanted to do that. And he does not have any ab crunch, but he does have these hip skirts that you can lift up so his legs can go forward and back. This side's really tight. The tolerance is really tight there. It can go forward and back. It can go out to the side. He does have a mid-thigh rotation, and he does have a 90-degree knee bend. He does have the ankle rockers, which are needed, and his toes can go up and down because it's on a ball joint. So in terms of the articulation, which is part of form and function, I think it's pretty standard, so it's good enough. And I think I forgot to mention he does have a fist rotation. So yeah, here is a look at Scattershot in his robot mode. So now for some comparisons, here he is next to Afterburner and Nose Cone. And here you could see what these guys look like next to each other. And let's just get a little tour here all around. And if you saw my review for Afterburner, I already pointed out he has difficulty standing because the heels do not lock in place, so they easily just push back up, and so he tends to fall on his back. But here you could see what these guys look like all around, and together as a group for only 3 Technobots so far, this actually looks really nice. And I laugh because it's funny to hear me say that when these are definitely not very tune accurate. So that should speak to the fact that I'm being honest when I said from a design perspective, you know, these are designed fairly well, aesthetically speaking. So here is a look at the other 2 Technobots. And I said I was not going to bring out the comparisons, you know, with the Make Toys version, the Takata Unite Warriors version, because I don't want to go, or the Warbatron, because I don't want to go through all the trouble to take them all out, disassemble them, and then have to combine them all back together. And then the G1 also. But the G1, someone commented, you know, just asking if I could do that. So here, because he wanted to see the scale, here is a look at the original G1. And so here you could see the difference between these two. And now that I brought that out, I'm just wondering, MGO doesn't review all figures, and I noticed he doesn't review a lot of the Legends or Mini Masterpiece by Magic Square and New Age. So yeah, you don't really see the comparison with the G1 with those figures. But here you could see the comparison here with this one. And yeah, I'm just trying to take a look to see, you know, maybe they took a little bit of the blue from the original G1 aesthetics. And yeah, now I see it, the little red here. Now I can see where this little detail's coming from. It's coming from the original G1, because you could see the decals here, the little red stripe on his knee, which, let's bring out the animation model again so we could see. Yeah, that's not on there with the animation model, and that's typical of the original G1. The toy never matched the cartoon, and the cartoon never matched the toy. So they're always making changes. So now this makes sense. So I could see where they're getting some of the blue from. I could see where this white line here on his chest is coming from. So yeah, now I kind of feel a little a little ignorant, because now I see where this is coming from. This is coming from the original G1. So yeah, from that aspect, you could say, you know, it's nothing really special about it. It's just, that's just the choice of their design. But anyways, maybe I'm glad that I brought the G1 out, because I would have never known that if I didn't do that. But anyways, there's a look at some comparisons. So now let's transform Scattershot to his alt mode and take a look at that. Okay, to transform Afterburner from his robot mode to his alt mode, first untab his gun and put that to the side. And just like Afterburner, I can't do the type of transformation where I show you how I figure out how to transform it to the alt mode, because this is a stylized version, so I don't really know what the alt mode's supposed to look like. So I explained that for these types of figures, I have to refer to the stock image photos to know what I'm trying to do. And so just looking at that, you know, the back's supposed to fold up to be the front, the lower legs are supposed to be the back, the arms are supposed to come down, and so on and so on. So with that, let's just go ahead and transform it. So first, like all the figures, the hands usually need to fold up. So the fist needs to fold up and in. So on the bottom, you want to pull down that panel, and you'll see there's another panel that you want to fold out. And then this one is not as simple as fold this down, because you can see there's a tab that's catching. So you need to rotate the fist in and then bring it down. And then you can bring this panel back up, and you could see that tab is supposed to go into the slot right there, like so. And then on the top here, there's another panel piece that you want to bring up to untab it. There's a tab that goes into the slot so that you can accordion this arm up and in, and then you can close that panel back up. So you do the same on the other side. So I'll show you how to do it again. So come to the bottom of the forearm, bring that panel down, and then there's another panel that you want to bring out, and then you need to rotate the fist in, and then you could fold in the fist, and then you could see that tab supposed to line up with that slot. So lift up that panel, close that up, and then on the top there's that panel piece that you want to lift up to untab it, and then you rotate the arm in, which will allow you to accordion this up, and then you close that panel back up like so. And then you could bring his arms on that squeaky friction joint down. And then his head obviously needs to go in, but you need to lift up this panel so you could see there's that cavity, but you need to rotate the head around 180 and then lift it up, and you'll see that there are a series of hinges here that you need to use to help guide the head down and into that cavity all the way, and then close that panel back up. And then there's these two locking bars that lock these shoulder joints in place that you need to lift up, which is a little hard to get to because they didn't give you a nub or anything to make it easier to lift that up. But you could see you lift those two locking bars up, and then you could see now the arms will come down to the side. And then you want to come to the back and you want to pull down to bring this piece down, and then you could fold these locking bars down all the way, and then you can bring this back up. And before you bring it up all the way, you need to take this chest piece, rotate it around, but to do that you need this white piece. You need to first untab it and then rotate it around. It is on a slider that you need to use to have the clearance to rotate it around. Here you could see it's on a slider. And then here that white piece has like two tabs that it's hard to see, but it's supposed to go into two little slots in there. And this is where, yeah, this is not done very well, because you could see now you bring this up and then this is supposed to go down and in, and you could see this just comes down, because you need to make sure you push this down all the way till you hear a snap. And well, yeah, that's surprising. I was able to do it with my finger, but I was trying to point out sometimes it's hard to push this down all the way till it snaps in place, but you know it's all the way in when, you know, pushing this down, it's not tipping over. So after you got that done, then we can complete the front part. So you want to lift out these small wings on the front, and then these two side pieces here you want to pull out, and then you're going to rotate these to the back into that little slot right there. And then this front canopy here, you want to first lift up this top, and then this is on a sliding joint, so you want to slide this forward, and then there's a tab that you want to bring this down, tab that in like so. And then we can come to this center part, so or his hips. So you want to flip up his white hip skirts, and then you'll see there's two slots that are for the two tabs up here. So you need to bring down this red piece that's going to tab into those two white slots like so. And then here his side hip skirts, let me see if I can show you. There is the little cutout right here that's supposed to go into that little tab sticking out. So you bring it up and it's supposed to line up in there like so. And then you do the same on the other side. Get that little tab to go into that cutout slot like so. And then the legs. Okay, so first the easy things, you want to just bring down the toes and the heel on both sides, and then come to the back, and you could see the white, you know, his back legs. You want to lift up the bottom part, and then you want to lift up the top part. So I'm just letting you know there's a tab that goes into the little cutout slot right there. So you want to first lift up, do the same on the other side. So you want to lift the bottom up, and then you can untab and lift up the top part. And this part gets a little tricky. So first, so you could see, we can go ahead and lift up this wing. And here I'm trying to show you. So now that you open this up, you're basically trying to accordion the thigh into the lower leg on that double hinge. And here, just like the Afterburner, they didn't give, for the wheels, they didn't make it so that it, you know, locks in place. So this is where you might go too much or not enough, and things don't really lock in place. So that's what makes this a little hard knowing if you got this positioned in the right place. So here I kind of already am doing the work for you, I think. So basically you're trying to get it in this orientation. This piece is like a stair step, so it lines up with the thigh on top of the lower part, and then there is a little cavity here that should be lined up. And now let's just do the one side. So if you got that correct, then you could see the tab on the forearm should line up with the slot. Let's see if you could see right there. So now you just bring this down, and it looks like I went up a little bit too much. See, so this is where I was telling you it's kind of hard to tell. So now it does line up, so you get that tab to go in, line it up, tab it in, and you give it a good squeeze. And then you do the same on the other side. And since you got one side done, it should be pretty easy, because now, you know, the leg should be symmetrical. So here, first lift this wing up so you could see. So now you're going to accordion the upper leg into the lower leg on that double hinge. And like I said, it doesn't lock in place, so it's hard to know if you got it in the right position. And like I said, that thigh should line up on that, you know, the bottom stair step here. And then if you also, there should be like a little cavity shape right here, and if you got that position correctly, this tab on the forearm should go into that slot. And it looks like it's maybe pushed up a little bit too much. So here's something else you can also do. Both these legs are supposed to tab in. It's that over under, so just get those tabbed in together, and then this now should come down and tab in like so. And then you have to give this a good squeeze to make sure it gets tabbed in all the way. And then since we brought up these wings, now we could bring out the wings. And somehow I got this somehow this got rotated around. So this is the correct orientation. So now we need to re-tab that, get that tabbed in. And then here, this lower wings here, I want to just tell you the tolerance here is really tight, so you want to move this up very slowly and gently, because you could see there's no screw or anything, so you can't really fix it. So you just want to lift up these tail wings up very slowly and carefully, because the tolerance is really tight. And then last is these little details here. They do slide up. They do go up, and doesn't go up all the way, it just goes up a little bit, which yeah, that's pretty much it. So now we have Scattershot in his alt mode. And then for storage, well, first let me show you this first. He does have a landing stick, or I don't know what you call those, you know, those landing things, but nothing on the back. So I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, he just kind of sits like this, doesn't really make contact. Yeah, kind of sits on these back hip skirts. But what I was trying to show you is you could take the gun, so you bring this up, and you could see there's the little tab right there. So you fold the handle down, and then there's the slot. So now you can take this, tab it in, and then now we have Scattershot armored up with the gun stored on his alt mode. And so now here you could see what Scattershot looks like in his alt mode. So now let's compare this with the animation model. So you could see that this is not very tune accurate. There's a lot of things I could point out, you know, such as the barrel of the guns missing at the end of the wing. The color of the tail wings is off. It's missing that little cockpit area that should be blue, that should have like blue windows up there. This I don't know, nose cone area should be much bigger. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, I know that's that white part down there with the little circle is supposed to be his hips. But yeah, it's yeah, not very tune accurate. And then from the back view, it's also the same thing. Here I laugh because the most prominent thing is just the colors are off. You know, the wing should be, you know, a different color, and the tail of the wing should be a different color as well. But overall, you know, it's a nice looking figure when you look at it objectively from a design point of view. Yeah, so here now let's take a closer look so we can see, you know, how nice they sculpted this. I mean, look at that little triangle with the vents in there. They sculpted the little lines down here. I'm sure those are probably the sticker G1 sticker decals. And then yeah, here this is good to point out this thing. So yeah, take a look at this. They added these little small guns, which is on the original G1 toy. And yeah, so I'm taking a look at it, trying to, you know, see what I like about it. It's really hard for me because this is not something that you really visualize. You just have to, this is something you kind of have to imagine, you know, when you're making up a spaceship, you know, like playing with Legos, and then you know, you put all these parts on there the way you configure it the way you like. So that's the best way I could describe it. It's it's just, you're looking at someone's design, you know, their version of Scattershot. But anyways, here's a look at Scattershot in his alt mode. And now let's do some more comparisons. Let's bring out his other two teammates that we have so far. So here he is next to Afterburner and Nose Cone. And as soon as I bring this out, this looks really cool. It's something about the colors, the orange, the red, the yellow, or the orange, white, and the red and white, and the yellow and the brown. Yeah, this is a nice, and it kind of really teases you to have the complete set. Just you know, wondering what it's gonna look like with light speed and strafe. And I already know it's gonna look really good. If these three look nice together like this, I could tell you that once you have the complete set, this is gonna be a really awesome set. And that's not speaking to the combined mode Computron, which I'll save for the very end once I have all the figures. But here's a look at the other Technobots. And then per, you know, someone's comment request, here is a look at the comparison with the G1. And yeah, you could see it's really big, and he doesn't stand. So this one and this one always made me laugh. Well, first of all, I had him upside down because here you could see there's the little window piece, and here to help him stand, you attach this to Computron's chest. I think it's, you know, a cool design, but aesthetically, you know, this always looked funny to me. This always looked like some kind of bird with his claws down here. But yeah, here you could see what these two look like next to each other. And this is what I was telling you, well, compared to the animation model, you know, the wing with the barrel of the gun here, the detail here, his side hip or his upper thigh, and then the cockpit area here with the blue windows. You know, now when I'm comparing it, I kind of wish they would have captured more of the original G1 or cartoon aesthetic, so that, yeah, this does look more like the cartoon. But, you know, here's a look at that. And the the little guns I was telling you. I think they did try to capture that on the original G1, because these, I never really liked these because you can't really have them attached unless you take this off and then you attach them where the strafe and afterburner is supposed to attach. And so now it's kind of like, in the wrong direction. But yeah, it's, I guess you could say it's nice. They try to add a little aspect of the G1, these little pieces here. So anyways, there's a look at the comparison with the original G1. So to try to keep my review short, I'm going to end it here, giving you my final thoughts. There is that alternate mode, I don't know what you call it. It's like a Canon mode or something. But there's another reviewer out there who did a short. So if you're interested, you could see just how to transform that. I don't plan to do that, but just letting you know. I mean, I could post the image of it so you could see what it looks like. And I'm laughing because what he said. It's basically bot bender. He was saying it's basically just a mode where you fold up the legs. But anyways, like I said, I'm just going to end my review here. So like I said many times, this is not very tune accurate. So to be objective, I have to look at this from a design point of view, and it's a little challenging to do that because this is not something that you really see. This is sort of like something out of your imagination that you make up. So it's really hard for me to really, analyze this design. But I could just tell you, just trying to look at this very simply, the proportions. It does capture a spaceship with the wings, and yeah, like I said, it's kind of like the Legos where you put all these parts on top. But from that point of view, it does look nice. And you saw with the other Technobots, it looks nice. So I could say that when you put this with the other Technobots, this looks really nice with the other Technobots. And then the engineering, yeah, there are a lot of aspects of it that's cool, where things, the way they move and tab in. But just like their afterburner, you saw the transformation. Trying to get these legs up in the correct position is challenging because they didn't really make it so that it locks in place. So sometimes you might go too much or too little. So yeah, I mean, but it's nothing major, like you have to worry about breakage or anything. And then in terms of form and function, there really isn't anything in the spaceship mode other than this landing piece here that doesn't really line. Well, I mean, yeah, it doesn't seem to work. I mean, it's kind of also just like their afterburner, the clearance down here. And there isn't any of those landing things on the back either. But that's basically the only function here in the alt mode. But yeah, so I'll just end it there, tell you overall, for a stylized figure of original G1 character, I think it's not bad. And like I said, when you bring it with the other Technobots, he looks really great. So, and in terms of recommendations, I don't give recommendations because if you want it, you'll get it. If you don't, you won't. And obviously, if you have one or the other, for a combiner, you're all in. You want to get them all so you can combine it to form, a Computron. So that's it. That's my final thoughts and review for Craftsman Toys Scattershot.
Terratons, merge and become Abominers!
What do we do, Grimlock? The Terracons turned into a giant...